Okay, we are back in League of Legends. So I queued up once again and wound up in the top lane, which is going to kind of offset the jungle videos from the previous week, but oh well. So Morgana's the first one to pick in. Sadly, since I don't know how the mid and the jungle are going, I'm either going Karma or Scion. You know what, let's just go Karma.
Always trust your spirit.
Oops, wrong page. Odds are they think I'm mid, so we have a chance to catch them off guard. But right now we need to hope that the jungler goes tanky. Unless we get some sort of jungle or tank in the mid lane. It's Ari instead for some good potential. So sadly at this point they know I'm top. And we have Gragas in the jungle, which is pretty good. We have a lot of pick potential here with all of Leona's CC, the Gragas Barrel, the Crystal Arrow, York Mori. So let's see, the proper tools to deal with him. In this matchup, I'm pretty sure I want to keep the teleport. So let's see. My mana regen item needs to be Morello's. Now, the question is, what do I get second? Frost Queens would help when dealing with Rammus. I can always pop that and make my getaway. Sonia's, Luden's, Relies. Well, if I need the pushing help, I can get a Luden second. Yeah, I'm gonna have to play this one by ear because I'm not entirely sure what I want for my second item. We'll see. One thing I do have to watch out for, though, are Rammus ganks. Had I gone Vladimir, I could have really made Yorick's life hell. He would have had the advantage for the first couple levels, but level 7 is when it starts to turn around. Ooh, Rammus top. Okay, that changes things a little bit. Not too much, though. Okay, notice that the mid, jungle, and top lane are pre-made, so there's going to be a lot of roaming to the mid. Rammus' advantage is with Powerball, he can get in and out real quick. In order to best punish him, I'm going to need, most likely, a Leandri's second. The downside to getting the Frost Queen second is, since he'll be in lane, he'll be able to engage at his leisure. The Frost Queens has something like a 90-second cooldown, which will save me once, but I need something more permanent. In reality, I'd like to burn his ass down, so Leandri's. Anyway, cutting to post-game comm here. Okay, post-game commentary picking up right here. In case you're wondering, I'm going to try to do this regularly with the Lantern skins.
You know what they say.
And this is Blue Lantern Karma. So I think I pointed out in the Nasus video, for both Nasus and Karma I have actual skins for, but these are just so much better than the ones that are being offered. So yeah, definitely going to be using these from now on. But anyway, to talk about this game, if you saw the Nasus video already, you'd know the theme for this weekend is coming from behind. Basically what's going to happen here is Karma can really smash Rammus. And in order for him to have a slim chance of surviving here, he needs help from his jungler, and as a result I'm going to get heavily camped. But the thing is, there will reach a point where even with Yorick's intervention I can just kill them both, so it's not going to be pretty nice for the Armadillo. But anyway, real quick I can explain something about Karma. Due to the mid-year mage rework, or whatever they're calling it, Vladimir is one of the guys that is set up to be modified in some way. And I'm kind of expecting him to wind up gutted, but that's just past experience with Riot talking. As such, I'm thinking about making Karma my just premier top laner. Basically, whenever I have to blind pick or whatever, the top laner, it's going to be Karma. And if you're wondering what is so great about Karma, her build paths are probably the single most versatile in the game. You can go so many different ways to adapt to whatever situation arises that you really can't go wrong with a Karma. In particular, this game you will see me go Tank Buster. This is a variant of the Malzahar build I've used in the past, but the thing is, since Karma has a slow on her Q and a root on her W, and then her W is also a dot, you don't really need a Rylai's. Your skills will suffice just fine. But I am going to be going for Morello Namicon first. And I'll explain all this during the opening stages because this is just where we try to last hit. It can be kind of boring. So first item, Morello's, and the reason for that is twofold. The first of which is that it gives me the mana regen CDR that pretty much all casters need. Yes, my last thing here kind of sucks because I'm trying to come back to Karma. It will be getting a lot better, don't worry. And the secondary reason is Rammus is running Grasp of the Undying, which is a form of sustain. I don't remember if he actually built any sustain items, but Morello's does inflict grievous wounds to limit self-healing. And as such, once I get him down to a certain point, even his Grasp of the Undying can't really save him. From there, this second item in your Tank Buster build is a little variable, depends on which you need, but it's just the second and third that are interchangeable. So you either want a Liandry's Torment next. This is ideal for enemies that will stack HP, such as Rammus, because he goes Sunfire and I think Deadman's usually. So both of those give him armor, gives him HP, and the Lingering Burn from Liandry's will just eat away at all that HP. Sadly, right here you see I had to flash York to get all of his ghouls out, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. The problem that we're going to have here is that our jungler Gragas is going to take probably like 3 times longer to get off the ground than York, which I don't think is normal, but Karma's versatile, what can I say? Picking up where I left off, the Liandry's will do its Lingering Burn thing, and then it gets the best return if you can, right here I'm going to die to tower, sadly. If I had flash up I could have killed him, but yeah. But already you can see how rough of a matchup this is for Rammus. Okay, for the third time. Going back to Liandry's. The advantage that gives is when the enemy is stacking HP, they may be neglecting MR, and you can get the burn to be even more effective. And then Liandry's is twice as effective when you have the enemy CC'd in some way, be it the Q slow or even the tether on the W. And if you remember what I said, this got really bad for my team. So you have the Lingering Q slow, or you can get the tether, and then the tether is also a dot. So that will keep reapplying the Liandry's to make it even more effective. As for your third item, since Karma is a mid-range mage and Ari isn't going to be building one herself, I'm going to be getting an Abyssal Scepter. That will give me MR, that will mitigate the damage reflection from Rammus's W, it will deal with the Sunfire cape he's trying to build. And York's W Ghoul, I forgot which one is which, that I believe does magic damage. But beyond just that, there's also the magic resist reduction that comes with the Abyssal. So I will be going for Lucid Boots, that way I have more CDR. And as such, I have to get my penetration through both the Liandry's, flat 15, and then the Abyssal, which is 30 reduction or 20 reduction, I forgot which one exactly. So that's going to cut even further into his MR and make me hurt all the more. And then since the magic reduction is a type of aura for the Abyssal, Ari and Leona can also get some synergy off of that, Gragas too now I think about it. But as for Karma herself, you can bully a good portion of the top laners, and Karma has a really strong early game with her ult, especially with her passive, I guess, since that brings the ult up more often.
Never again will I sit idle.
But you can also transition to a bit of a utility role, which you will see me do here also. But anyway, in order to deal with Rammus, he wants to initiate with his Power Ball, which is a form of movement speed amplification. The thing is, once I have my boots, I can actually use my E to create some distance. Right here I'm trying to point out he has a level advantage on me due to Yorick's intervention. He could be running EXP Quince, I'm not entirely sure, but it's one of those things where once I hit level 6, we're going to equalize as my scaling stuff kicks in.
The answer lies within.
So he wants to initiate with his Power Ball. I can use my E to basically get away. I can then apply my W, forcing him to either use the speed to completely commit and gain himself CC'd, or he has to turn around and run away. And while this is pretty intensive on my mana, the thing is I will have the Morellos to supply me with mana regen. Rammus is just going to have his Corrupting Potion, and I will be getting a Corrupting Potion myself shortly because I will need the additional damage as well as just the skirmishing nature of this matchup.
Now we prove our courage.
So right there at level 6, all of my scaling stuff is now equal to the flat. And you can see how much damage my Q does to Rammus exactly.
None will question our results.
So right there he had to use his Power Ball to actually get out of my ult. And as long as I can keep poking him, I'm not only getting the flat 3 gold, I'm also getting more CDR, or more cooldown reduction. Yeah, I guess CDR is applicable, but it's a flat amount of CDR for my ult.
Never falter.
So right here, this is the last death before I actually start going Terminator on Rammus. So at this point, I'm really wondering what kind of impact Gragas is having here, because Yorick has free reign and there's no consequences being dealt to him whatsoever.
An ally has been slain.
So that's what I'm looking at right here. You can see Gragas' numbers. He's leaving a lot to be desired right now.
Never again will I sit idle.
But in the event Rammus could actually wave clear a little bit better, I could have went for loot in second and just went the wave clear round. Doesn't really matter. So in order to optimally wave clear the back line, you need to auto attack each minion once, and then you can just use your ordinary Q to kill them all. You'll see me do this pretty much repeatedly here because that's the optimal way to wave clear with Karma. And poor Rammus, he had to burn his flash, but unfortunately for him, I have CDR, so my Q was up to kill him.
By force of will.
And that's going to be the pace of the game from here on out. Rammus simply cannot compete against me. And once I get a couple of items and just more levels, even a Rammus-Yorick combo will get mowed down.
Challenge what you need. Never falter.
So right there I went ahead and finished the Morellos. Sadly, I don't have enough for boots, but I can spam my E for the, I don't remember if it's 1.5 seconds of movement speed or 2. But I can use that to get back into lane and continue smacking Rammus around. So the Q whiffed, we'll pretend that didn't happen. Meanwhile, right here I'm just trying to get the Thunderlord's proc. You can see that the whole dot aspect to Karma's W is pretty damn slow. So Greg is saying he's coming up here, but in reality he can't do too much for me. In terms of CS, I have a significant lead over Rammus that's only going to be getting worse. He will be going for a Zerat portal as his MR item, and I'll actually show you the optimal way to dispose of those with Karma. Now, this was recorded on the previous patch because I don't know if the Zerat portal got changed to 5 flat HP just yet. But in the event that's for the next patch, you'll actually see how to optimally deal with them. It's pretty nasty, in case you're wondering. For the portal user, that is. So right there, auto attack. And right here you can see Rammus lost this trade. And that cost him his ult. At this patch, that's a flat 60-second cooldown ult, but I believe in the next patch it's going up to like 90 or 100 seconds. And that's my last potion. From here on out I'll be using Corrupting. But that's pretty much it. He can't really engage on me, because if he does, I'll pop my shield and tether. He'll get CC'd regardless, and once I get my tier 2 boots, I'll actually be fast enough to just stay away from him. So right here you can see York is making a return trip yet again. Like I said, I got camped hard here. And instead of sticking around, I decided to peace out and watch this. Look on the right side of your screen. There's York's ult. They planned on having his ult tank the tower while they went after me, but I just left. As a result, they lose out. Right here, Corrupting Potion. I go ahead and help myself to tier 1 boots. And the whole mobility advantage Rammus has is going to slowly dissipate. The only thing he has at the moment is level, but even that's going to be going away shortly, since I can force him out of lane at my leisure, or just flat out kill him. To make things worse, if you look, he's out of Corrupting Potion stacks. I have a full 3 because I'm leaving base now. And with my boots and my E, I managed to get here in time. I'm going to ult the wave in order to just thin that out and force him away. And unfortunately right here I'm late in applying the Corrupting Potion because I just got it. I wasn't really thinking. But right there, tether, ults, and down goes the armadillo. Now, he's going to be going for Merc Treads, that's painfully obvious. That's why I put a 3rd point into my W, that way the stun duration, or the root duration goes up by an extra 1/4 second. But after this, I'm going to start putting points into my E so I get the increased movement speed as well as just a bigger shield. And as a result, the trades are just going to get worse and worse and worse for him. So 1 hit to each of the minions, fire your Q, and they're all dead.
An enemy has been slain.
I have enough to go ahead and pick up my Lucid Boots, and I believe I can also get an Amp Tome, which will be the Leandries. Yep. So an additional 20 AP. While that may not seem like a lot, but Karma's W has a 0.9 AP ratio, so that's an additional 18 damage just from that one item. As for her Q, if you're using your ult, it has a 1.5 AP ratio, so I'm actually getting an additional 30 damage on my ult Q. Now, while these may seem like small numbers, the thing is, since Karma's a mid-range mage, like Rise was, she's all about spamming once you get some CDR. I can just keep the spells coming out non-stop, and those will add up very quickly. Right, Rammus? So right here, I rooted him under the tower, so he has to eat a few tower shots. He did have his defensive ball curl to give him a bunch of free defensive stats to mitigate some of that, but it doesn't matter. He can't afford to stay. So right there, I was slow on the auto attack, and it cost me a minion. And right here, I don't know where he is. I don't see York on the map as of right now, so I'm a little hesitant on my movements. Right here you can see the Merc Treads were able to, well, they could have gotten him out of the ult Q, the secondary burst, that was. As such, that's why I needed to have 3 points into my W. And hopefully you can see how miserable this matchup is for Rammus. So I remember on the previous patch, people were saying, Rammus is so OP, this, that. If you know what you're doing, you can break his ass down. The only reason he had any sort of lead in the first place was due to jungler intervention, and check this one out. So if you time it correctly, you can have him teleport right into the secondary burst of your ult. And I was thinking about going back here, but I don't have enough to buy anything, so I decided to stay. Make his life a little bit of hell, you know?
Never be ashamed.
So I'm not entirely sure if Thunderlords is actually the best one to have here, because the way I'm hitting him, Deathfire Touch would probably be really optimal. It's just one of those hindsight things, and for some of my stuff I do actual experimental measurements. I'll play the thing out to see the numbers actually in action. I guess you can think of it as practical data or something like that, but it doesn't matter. Thing is, I will try to get my numbers accurate to figure out what is optimal and what isn't. But unfortunately, with the Rammus nerfs on the horizon, I don't think we'll be seeing too much of him in the top lane anymore. So right here, while I don't have the tether, I just queued him for the slow, pop my shield, and that's it. His hands are tied. So right there, I wanted to get the Thunderlord's proc.
As Ionia changes,
And right now I'm at a high enough level to where the cooldown on Thunderlords really isn't that high. As such, that's even worse news for Rammus, though. So Vayne is coming up here for the next Rammus kill as well as to get his tower. So first things first, I have to soften him up.
never become a monster.
Right here I'm just trying to get the Thunderlord's proc. I'm going to give my shield to that caster minion to keep it alive long enough so that we can get new minions out without one of us having to tank. And Rammus went in way too early. So there's the Thunderlords, the Root, and then the Silver Bolts for the kill. So we got to put a kill on Vayne, our hyper carry, and I also got the tower, so global gold for the team, and I got assist gold. So right here I could have finished the Haunting Guys, but I decided to go for the Blasting Wand instead. As for what's better between the Guys and the Wand, I believe the Wand is a little bit more optimal, and the reason for that is this. If you were to get the Guys, I believe that's 25 AP with 15 points of penetration. That will in turn give me an additional about 20 damage, we'll roughly say, for completing it. Meanwhile, if I go for the Blasting Wand, that's 40 AP, no penetration, and as such, it's going to be a little bit better in terms of damage. You can see I just went ahead and cleared the Golem camp to go ahead and get the Haunting Guys, so it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. So yes, I can have my cake and eat it too. So right here, no one is actually taking advantage of the thing's eye. Not entirely sure why, but Ari goes ahead and gets the Herald buff. That's going to help her push in the mid lane. Ori is decent in wave clear though, so go figure. Anyway, you can see Rammus has his Null Magic Mantle, or not the Null Magic Mantle, the Negatron Cloak. Bad news for him is with the Haunting Guys, I can actually pierce some of that and just I just push him around like that. So right here I'm going to clear all of those while the cannon goes ahead and tanks the wave. I'll come back to last hit that. And you can just see I'm making up for all the CS that I didn't get early. I have kill gold to help catapult me up from the deaths I had to give up due to Yorick's camp. And Rammus is becoming less and less of an issue with every second that passes. So right here I'm on my way to the Dragon Pit. I don't believe I'm actually needed, but... oh, it's almost Oath time. So we're going to have an unfavorable fight here that goes a little bit bad because when Leona initiates, no one else follows up. I arrived a little too late to make a difference. You can see we traded junglers, but we're also going to lose Leona. So right here I use my ult Q for disengage. Here we go. fearful day, in raging night, with strong hearts full, our souls ignite. When all seems lost, in the war of light, look to the stars, for hope burns bright. Goodbye, Ori. Don't forget to take your pet with you when you go. Too slow, Morg. And if not for Yorick there, I would have killed her too. But I got Yorick's flash. So even though that was a less than desirable fight, with that last burst right there, we turned things around. So right here I'm going to get some vision for the team, that way we can take Dragon with some safety. I'm using my Q to start it up so that we don't have to worry about the knockback killing a second or two of our time. I use my shield to protect Gragas as he does this. And right here I want to keep Yorick at bay. So if you notice right there, he's a Devourer Yorick. Not really that great, but yeah. And in reality, I'm not going to show any mercy to Ori because of the whole group name. I don't know if that is still around because it's been about a week since I played this game. Well, let's see. The patch went in Wednesday. You're going to be seeing this Sunday. It's close enough. We'll say 1 week.
Heart and mind as one.
And since Rammus is raging, I need to go ahead and start messing with him also. It helps if I can type, though.
I have seen two paths and made another between them.
So I could have used my shield to actually catch up to him. The catch is I wouldn't have been able to disengage from that then. So right here I think Rammus wanted to go support his teammates. Firing off my Q. And just like that, I held them back and actually pulled some people away from that fight. It's not going to be any assists for me in the grand scheme of things, but that's still pretty big for our team. That was Yorick who came top. We still had Rammus here. I want to say Ori came also, which left the solo laners completely vulnerable. So as a result, we go ahead and get the mid tower off of that. That's pretty much my only monetary reward from everything, because like I said, no assist. And from here, the problem we're going to have is that Vayne is going to try to split push for about 8 to 10 minutes from here.
Rampage.
I forgot who it is that ultimately calls her out on this, but I'm the one with teleport. I should be the one split pushing. Ironically, I'm also utility, so I can get into fights more easily. Here's where I die due to everyone else coming top. And that's why I need the Negatron, so that I can deal with Rammus's damage. Plus, it softens the enemies for whatever I throw at them. So right here I was looking at the price of the Abyssal. It's pretty cheap for how powerful it is, all things considered. With all the other AP items getting nerfed with the previous AP item rework, I forgot when that was exactly, Abyssal is pretty much one of the best AP items you can get. So right here I'm getting Distortion Boots so that I can flash and TP better, as well as getting the additional effects on my summoners. Basically it's movement speed, in case you're wondering. And Vayne got sniped.
An enemy has been slain.
Gragas blew up Ori, and I have to still mess with her mentally, so she was surprised by the Gragas burst. In case you're wondering, Runic Echoes is getting nerfed, so that doesn't happen anymore. Don't ask him, he's drunk. Don't you see the giant keg he's hauling around? He's biased, or at least unreliable.
Never fear.
I'll provide my commentary on the Runic Echoes change the next time I jungle someone who uses that. Normally that would be Hecarim, but Riot even seemed upset that that was the single best jungle item for the horse. In reality, that's not really a problem with the item, that's more of a problem with Riot itself. But anyway, right there we got Yorick's flash once again. I don't think we kill Rammus here, but no, we're going to instead mess up his teammates a bit. So right there, Rammus has the black shield to try and encourage him to go in. He has the Ori ball. They are hoping for something, and that's not going to come because I'm the beacon of hope here, people. Now, with all of them here, we want to be very careful in our engage because we do have the pick potential with both Ari and Leona. And right here, I'm going to try to force Jin out of the fight. So I couldn't root him, but I still managed to hit him with the first part of my Q for the burst damage. I'm betting he got out from the second part, but still, it's painful for him. So right here, I don't know why Gragas really went in like he did. Instead, I just go ahead and fire off my Mantra Q to help him kill Amor. Right here, I'm trying to kill the Rammus Ghoul. We lose Ari in the process. I give my movement speed to Gragas so they can get out of the Jin ult. Jin's only option is to aim for me, but I can just pop my shield and no mercy for him. But here I'm going to blow up York. Payback for the whole early game. Remember York, hope burns bright.
We have learned as much as we have suffered.
So right here you can see Vayne is crying about having to group up with the team, but had she continued to split push, she would have actually cost us the game. It would have been a textbook throw. We pretty much have every single advantage that there can be: dragons, map pressure, CS, overall gold. And with that Abyssal Scepter, like I said earlier, Ari, Gragas, Leona, and I all hurt more than before. And I remember Vayne has a static Shiv, because I know she went Phantom Dancer first, if you didn't notice. She may... if she had a... well, if she had a static Shiv, then she would also get a little bit of extra damage from the Abyssal.
Challenge what you know. Never fall.
So right here you can see the Zerat portal in effect. There's one thing I wanted to test here. Like, this is something that I'm looking at the video to see. But in order to optimally deal with this, as Karma, you can actually tank the wave with your shield. Have your wave actually kill the minion things, the voidlings. Okay, I'll have to look at his next portal to see it. You have your minions kill his voidlings. You tank it with your shield. You can fire your Q into his wave as you auto-attack the thing down. Pretty much at this stage of the game, with as much CDR as I have, I can keep my shield up almost indefinitely, and as such, there's really no hope for him regarding just trying to split push with his rock portal. So in case you heard that that sound effect, League has finally finished updating. I had to do something while I waited, and I decided to do the post-game commentary here. So right here I gave my movement speed to Ari, hoping she could pick someone. Instead she caught a Dark Binding in the face. So we pick up a kill on York. I have to back off here to get away from the Morgana ult. Once that's gone, I'm free to re-engage. I didn't get anything off of Morg, sadly, but I am going to get some stuff off of Rammus. Gragas is going to do something really stupid here and getting himself killed. Right here I'm thinking, okay, I can wave clear, push us into the tower. If you remember, one auto, then Q. There goes Gragas. As a result, my siege on the mid lane turret was much more briefly lived than I had it planned. So we get the bottom inner turret. I show up here to collect these and instead just apply pressure top. There's still a top inner turret for us to get, which will give global gold to the team. So you can see by me shielding a minion, I can generally extend its lifespan by one tower shot. The exception is if it is the siege minion. Due to the damage reduction it gets from towers, my shield's actually even more potent. It should be able to extend its life by 2 turret shots. If I go ahead and pick up a needlessly large rod to ultimately become either my death cap or potentially a Zonia. It's just with this enemy team comp, a Zonia actually is not a good item. So I'd rather get the death cap just for more AP damage. But you can see fundamentally my tank buster build is complete. Rammus, even Yorick have no prayer when dealing with me. The thing is, until I actually get that death cap, I am not that effective against the squishies, ironically. Ori, Jin, and Morg will pose a little bit of trouble since I'm about just shredding HP rather than dealing a certain amount of damage.
We must all make our choices.
So right there, we traded Jin for Ahri. Unfortunately, while all this is going down, I didn't actually notice how fed Ori is starting to get, which will cost us in this coming fight. Right here, you get to see me show you the optimal way to deal with the Zerat Portal's Karma. So right here I have to clear this wave, because I need my wave to actually deal with the Voidlings. So firing my Q up there, and yes, I am getting gold from the Voidlings. So I could actually use this as a bit of a farming opportunity, use the Zerat Portal to freeze the wave, collect my passive 1 gold for my Bandit Mastery from those as I just last hit the incoming minions, and since that will freeze the wave where the tower is, that's one way you can actually really harshly punish a Zerat Portal user. But anyway, right here I'm on my way to the Baron Pit. This is pretty easy for us to take because Vayne has her Silver Bolt, she just has her outrageous amounts of damage. I have my high AP damage plus the burn from Leandri's. Baron melts. That's all you really need to know. And you can tether it, like so. So right there, Rammus flashed into the pit. Not entirely sure what he was planning, but yeah, he dies. I get the assist, Baron for the team. Yorick is in a pretty nasty spot, but this is the team fight that's going to go wrong because you'll see. So right here, while that was the Yorick ghoul I hit, my plan was to actually create a disengage zone for us to not fight in the first place. Instead, Gragas goes in. 1 shockwave connects. I try to come from behind, but right here you can see how limited my effect is on Jin. And Ori hits me right here with a Q for 700 damage. That was just the Q. I didn't know how fed she was because I would have actually started using my corrupting potion sooner or even put my shield up. Instead I was planning to face tank that shot and then pop my shield on there so I can tether her, run in there. Because I was kind of afraid she was actually going to use her Q, then she could have her W up to slow me. There was a bit of fear on my part that she would have gotten away had I used my shield too early. But instead, she has a lot of damage. So once again, I'm trying to drive some friction in between that group, supporting the whole Yorick as a tank theory when clearly he's not. In reality, I don't know what he's doing, but some pre-mades are really, really obnoxious like that. I do kind of feel bad for Morg and Jin.
Never
But right here you can see how good that super minion is at clearing the wave. I was hoping to be able to pick up something here, but they're all dead already. So Morg wants to wave clear, unfortunately for her, mine's a little bit better. Right here I'm getting the movement speed to Ahri, and with the event she wants to go for a pick. And I'm just trying to go around to secure some vision for the group. So yeah, I even get the passive gold from the Yorick ghouls. This Bandit Mastery can be very helpful against Yorick in lane, if anyone ever played him, that is. But anyway, this is the final fight. This is where you get to see my utility to its full extent. So that's 1 for Vayne. 1 shockwave later, which missed me. That's 2 for Vayne. I give the movement speed to Ari here because I wasn't anticipating Vayne getting the Penta, but yeah. So right here, I'm trying to help her. As such, I give her the shield so that even if they try to run from her, her passive movement speed plus my shield movement speed means they're not going anywhere. Penta for Vayne. And right here, I'm just making sure I get the last hit. So while my KDA was not very impressive, check out the stats, because those tell a little bit of a different story. The story of a tank buster. So you can see S- rank. Karma is probably my most played top laner as of right now, since Vlad is on the way out, but you can see I dealt the most damage. That's pure tank buster, that's all there is to it. Anyway, Karma top for you guys. I'm the Hero of Light, thanks for watching, and goodbye.